Welcome, everybody, to the Leadership Excellence Podcast with George Trachilis and Dr. Tom Lawless. Now, today's topic is delegating, and really, it's three power moves in delegating. But before we get to delegating, I want to give you guys a little story of when I was in Florida and walking the streets at 4 in the morning, getting my steps in. And one of the things I downloaded was a Harvard Business Review uh, audiobook. And one of those segments was called Managing Time and Who's Got the Monkey. Now, if you've heard
Oh,
of this, then you know that we cause our own problems as leaders. Sometimes we'll go up and say, "How are you doing?" To an employee or a subordinate, and they'll say, "I got this problem," and you thinking, "I want to be a servant leader." Wrong idea. What you do is you take that monkey, that's what they called the issue or the problem, take that monkey off your employee's back and put it onto your back. By the time the week's over, you've got all these monkeys on your back and you better start delegating because you can't get them done. So let's first of all say, stop getting monkeys on your back. And that's the preventative measure for this, right? Just stop that. Don't do it. But if you're there now, you got three delegation power moves. So start taking an inventory of those monkeys or start looking at the overload that you put on yourself. And let's go through these three power moves. What's power move number one, Tom?
leaders are overwhelmed not because they work hard, but because they're carrying other people's monkeys.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's foundational, like you said. And I really like that on the thought that you mentioned that on the monkeys on bringing this up on the way that with people putting things on their back, and at the end of the week, they have all of these monkeys on their back. I really like the way you put that. Power move number one. Delegate outcomes, not tasks. The first move is foundational. Most leaders think they're delegating, but what they're really doing is assigning disconnected tasks. Send this email, create this report, build this slide. Delegating outcomes, on the other hand, is completely different. Outcomes are results, not steps. Deliver this improvement, own this process, achieve this target. When people own outcomes, they start thinking like leaders. They solve problems. They make decisions. They become invested. You stop being the bottleneck and start building capability. Delegating outcomes elevates your team's confidence, creativity, and independence. It's the first essential step in mastering the three delegation power moves.
Well, that's really good. So delegating outcomes, one of the things I used to do when I was in front of project teams, I told them, I don't care about your task. Honestly, anything you do within a task is, in my opinion, not value added. Really, all the value is encompassed in the deliverable or the outcome. So I used to have a saying like, hey, I don't care about 99% being done, the first 99%. I care about the second 99%. So people get the idea. Look, it's all on the back end. Have you served your customer properly? If you could do it in 1 second, do it. There's an outcome. There's a deliverable. Way to go, Tom. That's a great one. What's another one, Tom?
Well, power move number two, match delegation to skill and readiness. The second power move is all about choosing the right level of delegation based on the person's ability and experience. If someone isn't ready and you give them too much freedom, they feel abandoned. If they are ready and you give them too much control, they feel micromanaged. Both destroy trust and both make delegation fail. This is where adaptive delegation matters. Ask yourself, what's their experience? How strong is their judgment? Have they succeeded in similar tests before? Then choose the appropriate level, from step-by-step guidance to complete ownership with periodic checkups. Uh, when you match the delegation level to readiness, people grow faster. Leaders stop firefighting, teams become more self-reliant, and this leads directly into the third move.
Oh, that's so good. So as I think about this, one of the things you said is delegate appropriately. Try to bring people's skill level up. And if you're thinking about your organization as we are only successful if we increase our capability to do the work, then you got the right idea. Now, I remember in the past, Tom, I used to have a saying. It was called, if you want something done, give it to the busiest person you know.
Ah.
So,
Ah.
yeah, but that's terrible. That's terrible. The busiest person you know is very capable and they could probably handle it, but are they building up their skills as much as you could help somebody else build up, their skills? So you got to do it right. I agree with that. So power move number 3, critical, is establish the guardrails and let go. So this is where outcomes and are delegated, right? Readiness is aligned, and this final move brings it all together. Set the guardrails and go. So in this case, letting go doesn't mean stepping away. It means giving people clarity so they can operate confidently without constant supervision. Again, this is pure Harada, building self reliance in people. Your guardrails are going to include number one, what's the purpose of doing this? Why does this matter? Let them know why it matters so they can connect to the overall vision. The outcome, what success looks like. So get them to describe what do you think success looks like? And then do this thing called yes and, not correcting them, but yes, and I'd like, this to happen. This is one of my requirements. And then finally, there is no progress or significant progress without a deadline. You got to set a
That's right.
deadline. It's got to be completed on time. Every time I go into, I really don't care what it gets done. Honestly, whatever I'm doing just eats up and sucks up the space between now and then. So no good. Boundaries, finally, what they can and cannot do or cannot change. This is one of the tools I learned way back was is or is not. This project is this and is not this. Give them like an is and is not chart. This is what I think it is that you're doing. This is what it is not that you're doing. So that they have these boundaries, and then just let them go. When you set these uh, clearly identified boundaries, people will finally grow. They'll take ownership, right? They make decisions, they gain momentum, they gain confidence, especially if you just say, great job, you know, don't don't suppress their creativity by giving them something to worry about. And then finally, Tom, that's I think it. Can you summarize those three for me and then
You know,
wrap it up?
I just adding on that a little bit, George. I love that on the deadline. I always give deadlines, and I make sure personally, I make sure that there are phases in between, right? So that all of a sudden at the very end of the project, the person's been overwhelmed, they haven't had the time, or they're afraid to say, "Hey, Tom, I need help." At least if I have phases, then okay, are you done with this phase? Are you done with this phase? How are we doing? And how are we doing on the overall deadline? And the scope, the boundaries. I love that, George, on putting those boundaries in there. Otherwise, everything we do, if we don't have boundaries on the is not, right? That that project will everybody wants to boil the ocean instead of take it one little bucket at a time, right? All right. So summarizing it, delegating your outcomes, match readiness, and set guardrails so you can let go. With these three moves, you'll elevate your leadership and build a capable, self-reliant team.
Right on. Use those power moves to elevate your delegation skills, right? So
Yeah.
maybe make a list and say, okay, where can I go with this? Who am I going to give it to? Make an inventory first. That's what I said is count those monkeys on your back, find out what's there. Make that list. After you make that list, identify your vision and what you should be working on. Break those up into three categories. Must do, should do, and could do. All right, get rid of the could
I like
do's, like
that.
drop them off the list and then start delegating the must do's and should do's. Okay, that kind of wraps it up for this year, Tom. I want to wish everybody who was listening a happy holiday season, and we will see you guys back on January 10th.
Absolutely. And
And
happy holidays to everybody.
yeah, keep on going, keep on leading, and stay, stay with us and learn as we learn together. Take care.
Yeah. Thank you.
Bye bye. I don't think I recorded that, Tom. Just kidding.